Destiny 2 has brought tons of exotics from Destiny 1 over the years, and today I wanted to take a look at the exotic armor from Destiny 1, not yet brought to Destiny 2. On the channel, we recently covered the Destiny 1 exotic weapons not yet in Destiny 2, so be sure to check that video out after watching this one. And first we're going to take a look at the Hunter exotics that haven't returned and discuss which ones could be potential candidates for D2. Starting us off is going to be the ATS-8 Arachnid helmet. Your golden gun zooms in for accuracy when aimed and can be kept ready for longer. In Destiny 1, this helmet didn't see a lot of use. In fact, I never used it except for maybe one time after I first got it. But the more I think about it, it might have actually been slept on a little bit. It not only increased the zoom of your golden gun, but also the aim assist, which wasn't amazing I guess, but the time it extended your super was. 4 extra seconds for your golden gun. I think if this were brought to Destiny 2, it could see a bit more use. Golden gun runs out quick in D2, especially your 6-shot Goldie. Maybe it could even get some more added bonuses like giving a boxed breathing style perk that procs if you aim down sights for a few seconds before firing your golden gun. It could help with DPS on bosses, and it could make it decent in Crucible to shut down supers or something. And going into this video, I didn't think I'd be advocating for this one to make a return, but here we are. Next we're going to take a look at its sibling, the ATS-8 Tarantella. Take reduced arc damage from PvE enemies, arc grenades and arc blade recharge faster. Currently with things like Raiden Flux, Blight Ranger, and Lucky Raspberry, I don't see there being much of a reason to bring this one into Destiny 2. Arc 3.0 brought a fragment that gives you damage resistance and various other ways to increase super and grenade energy recharge. And as cool as this one looks, I just don't see it being added unless it had some unique tweaks to the perks. Next is the Don't Touch Me gauntlets. Taking damage from a melee attack makes you briefly invisible. This exotic really doesn't have any reason to return, especially with things like the Liar's Handshake, which gives you a much better bonus when being hit with a melee attack. Plus there's just so many ways to go invisible with other exotics and subclasses right now that this would kind of be a useless addition. In Destiny 1 they had one use, and one use only, soloing the lamp encounter in the Crota's End raid, something that I took advantage of every single week of the Dark Below days. ACHLYOPHAGE Symbiote. Golden gun gains 1 additional shot per use. For PvP in Destiny 1, I ran this helmet all the time as a gunslinger main. Having that extra shot was fantastic in case you missed a shot or there happened to be a lot of enemies on the screen, and in PvE it wasn't bad either for those same reasons. Also, the helmet looks so cool. But in Destiny 2, I don't know how good this thing would be. Honestly, if it does return, it should be fused with my proposed changes to the ATS-8 Arachnid helmet. The bonuses there, plus the addition of an extra shot, would actually be pretty good. S-tier potential for both PvP and PvE. Next we have the Skyburner's Annex. Heavy weapon kills have a chance to create orbs. Orbs collected when your super is full have a chance to grant special ammo. Now this helmet wasn't half bad in Destiny 1. I remember using it for the King's Fall raid fairly often early on in order to always have sniper ammo for DPS, and it helped my teammates out by supplying them a lot of orbs. If your super was full, it consumed the orbs of light, which was kind of annoying, but obviously was a fair trade-off, I suppose. I wouldn't mind seeing this one return, but I'm a bit indifferent to it. Let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments. Crest of Alpha Lupi. Revive fallen teammates and be revived faster. Supers generate an extra orb. This was a pretty strong exotic in the Destiny 1 sandbox. Increased revive speed was great in Destiny 1 trials, and orbs granted much more super energy in Destiny 1 than they do in Destiny 2, so the extra orb wasn't half bad either. In Destiny 2, Titans had their version of this exotic brought forward but completely changed the perk. On barricade use, generates a healing pulse which both heals the user and allies within 12 meters. Healing pulse heals for either 58 HP or 130 HP depending on which is the highest. Now if this were brought to Destiny 2, it could just become a hunter version of the same thing, but I'd prefer it to stay more like the D1 version. However, I don't see that happening, so it probably should and will stay behind in Destiny 1. Mask of the Third Man. Arc blade attacks use less super energy. Basically just Raiden Flux but without the damage buff from Raiden Flux, so it's kind of useless now. Maybe it could return and be specific to spectral blades, but However, I do love the design of this thing, so if it ever came to D2 with brand new perks, I wouldn't be mad. And finally, the Bones of AO. Upgrades double jump with an additional jump. I pretty much haven't taken these things off since I got them. You either get a quadruple jump with them, or a very quick version of the triple jump if you paired it with better control in your subclass. which is how I preferred to play it. In Destiny 2 we have Stompies, which increase sprint speed and slide distance, improved high jump, strafe jump, and triple jump, and in a lot of ways, Stompies are better than Bones of AO, but honestly I'd still like to have the Bones back. They are a little bit different. As cool as it'd be to have an extra jump just added to the Stompies instead, I think that would just be out of control in the game, and maybe they don't need to return, and in all reality they probably don't, but I love these things. The look, the feel, everything. Now it's on to the Titan. First we have the Glass House. Blessing of Light and Weapons of Light last longer, 5 seconds longer in fact, and in Destiny 1 this wasn't a bad exotic at all. It allowed you to DPS a little bit longer before having to hop back into the shield, and gave you that overshield just a little bit longer as well to help out. I think the Glass House would be fine to bring over to Destiny 2. Some people have discussed that it might be a bit too strong or broken, but I don't think so. It would be pretty good, but not something absolutely required or anything. But let me know what you guys think. Up next, Helm of Inmost Light. Provides Death from Above and Headstrong for Fist of Havoc. Headstrong increased the leap distance of Fist of Havoc on activation while the player is sprinting. And in Destiny 2, Death from Above is now just an ability rather than part of a super. But this exotic deserves to make a return just based on its appearance alone. Give it all new perks or something, I don't care. Just bring this one back. It looks so good. Ruin Wings. Heavy ammo drops more often and contains more ammo in each drop. Nowadays we have heavy ammo finders in the form of mods for each weapon type, and sometimes though, those drops are not enough, as we've seen in the Kingsfall raid recently in D2. The heavy ammo drought can be rough at times. Having the Ruin Wings would help that problem potentially, same as the Aeons do. But I can see the obvious problem of bringing it forward. Maybe it could be more of a support exotic that generates orbs on heavy kills and increased heavy drop spawn rate from enemies defeated with your super. Something like that might balance it out a bit more. And fun fact, this exotic makes reference to the Tree of Silver Wings on Io in its description. In the garden grows a tree of silver wings. The leaves are in ruin, the bark a disaster. Of the seeds we do not speak. It's an awesome little hint that I'm guessing led Bungie to either create a Tree of Silver Wings later, or maybe it was planned to be part of the game at the time, but who knows. Ruin Wings also looked super badass and sleek, so I'd love to see them return to the game. Next up is the Taikanaut. All rocket launchers gain tracking, radar remains visible while zooming with all heavy weapons, and heavy ammo drops increase when using a rocket launcher. So this one has a little bit of the Ruin Wings with its perk, but the main selling point was tracking for all rockets. I wouldn't mind seeing this one return at all. I don't think it would be imbalanced or broken, and would make using rockets other than G-Horn just as satisfying. Let me know what you guys think about this one because maybe it would be a problem. Imperium Bellicose. Aiming weapons while in the air will hold you in place for a short time, and orbs collected while your super is full will recharge your melee ability. Obviously, Warlocks have this as an ability now in Destiny 2, and while this exotic could be fun at times in PvP, it was pretty underwhelming. But maybe Destiny 2 could use a new fun exotic. But I'd be fine if it didn't return. Immolation Fists. Grants explosive pyre. Enemies brought down by your hammer explode, chaining fiery solar damage to other enemies. In Destiny 2, this kind of already exists, so if it were to ever return, it'd just need all new perks. Thagamizers. Fist of Havoc kills recharge your melee, and melee kills recharge Fist of Havoc. Gain an additional melee charge. With things like the Skull Fort and Heart of Inmost Light paired with any of the new fragments from ARC 3.0, I can't see this one returning how it stands right now. But maybe Bungie could do something completely different with it and keep the 2 melee charges. Also, these things looked huge on your Titan. They were based on this Cabal enemy from the Taken King. And finally, we arrive at Twilight Garrison, an exotic chess piece that dominated PvP and speedrunning for PvE. It looked like a life jacket, but it was very useful. Dodge while airborne to evade. And once again, Warlocks now have this as an ability, and recently Titans have a similar ability now with ARC 3.0's Thruster, and after some controversy over on Twitter, it's safe to assume that this exotic will never fully come back to the game. Up first for the Warlocks we have ALCHEMIST'S Raiment. Chance to gain Glimmer on primary ammo pickups, orbs collected when your super is full recharge grenades and melee. Now I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that first perk. Such a weird perk to get Glimmer from primary ammo bricks, like what? But orbs granting grenade and melee energy when super was full was a cool idea and kind of similar to the Skyburner's Annex for the Hunter. But this exotic was one of those, oh man this looks so good but there's no reason to use it, exotics of Destiny 1. In Destiny 2, I'd love to see them bring this one back and make some badass perks for it. Heart of the Praxic Fire. Further decreases all ability cooldowns while Radiance is active. Greatly increased agility. This exotic was one of my favorites in Destiny 1. Radiance was a super that basically made you have crazy damage resistance and all of your abilities came back quickly. With this exotic, they came back almost instantly, turning you into a grenade chucking machine. Using this with fusion grenades for DPS was pretty good in Destiny 1. But D2 doesn't have the Radiance super, so if this were ever brought back, it'd of course need to change. And similarly, we have Starfire and Sunbracers, which do a good job at helping Warlocks chuck a lot of grenades, so this one should probably stay behind in Destiny 1. Light Beyond Nemesis was the same as Crest of Alpha Lupi for the Titans and Hunters in Destiny 1. Faster revive, extra orb, and I used to love this helm. For Destiny 2 it needs some changes of course, but man I love the look of this thing. Purifier Robes. Activating Radiance from Death disorients nearby enemies. Again, Radiance and Self-Res are not in Destiny 2, so of course it hasn't returned. Probably don't see this one coming back. The Impossible Machines. Grants landfall on Stormcaller. On casting Storm Trance, fire a bolt of lightning into the ground, creating a devastating shockwave under you. This was nice if you wanted to select something other than landfall in your subclass skill tree. And in Destiny 2, maybe it could do something to landfall to give it a buff of some kind, but I'm not entirely sure. And of course, as I keep saying, these looked great. Obsidian Mind. Nova Bomb kills reduce the cooldown of your next Nova Bomb. Basically Shards of Galanor for the Warlock. I love this helmet in Destiny 1. And in Destiny 2 we have Skull of Dire Ahamkara, which is pretty much the exact same. However, I'd prefer to see this perk added to Nezarec Sin's helmet instead of Skull of Dire Ahamkara, but that probably will never happen. And finally, VOIDFANG Vestments. Spawn with full grenade energy and your Axion Bolt Grenade spawns an additional Seeker. This was pretty broken in Destiny 1 PvP for a while, and I can see it being extra annoying in Destiny 2 PvP. And I don't think this one should probably return for obvious reasons. But as usual, it was one of the best looking Warlock robes in Destiny 1. And that is all for Destiny 1 exotic armor not yet in Destiny 2. Be sure to check out my video on all the Destiny 1 weapons. A link to it will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.